Welcome, and thank you for joining for another whiskey review. Today, we're trying the Kavalan Amontillado. Dustin, this will round out a little 4-part series of these similar boxed Kavalans. We've brought the folks the PX, the Moscatel, the Manzanilla, and then finally the Amontillado. Dustin, this is the first one that's actually in my bottle.
Yeah.
That we brought.
We finally got Mike to start buying Kavalan. And even the good ones.
Well, as you know, I bought 15 of the other ones, of the single cast ones that were $109. But yes, to actually spend a decent amount of money on it, I picked up this in the Moscatel.
And by the way, Mike, this is a real rarity for you. You didn't just spend decent money on this. Mm-hmm. You bought it without having tasted it first.
Yes.
Which is the first in at least the last year for you.
Well, I tell you what.
Without, I think what you did, you bought a couple legendary bottles based on reviews, but nothing modern.
I will say this. They, as I've told you before, strong pour.
Yes.
As you've said many times.
I'm not against it.
As you've said many times.
Indication of what you think of the whiskey.
Indication of what I think of the whiskey. So, they build up a lot of goodwill with me.
Yes.
Kavalan. So, after you had brought me the bourbon ones that you also said were epic, and that was absolutely the truth. One of our buddies, Adam, bought a few bourbon casks. They were also as epic. I said, "What can we really get that would be interesting that I haven't? You already have." You said the Amontillado. I said, "Fine, I'll get that. I'll get the Moscatel. No problem at all. These are epic whiskeys." Yep. Now, what Amontillado is I believe it starts out as a Fino cask, from what I've been able to read, and then there's other types of fortified wines used after it was used to age Fino.
Yeah, I mean, I want to say, and I'm probably getting this off, they can let it oxidize a little bit longer and a little bit more so it gets darker.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, something like that. So,
the darker part I'm pretty sure about. The rest I'm a little shaky on.
Yeah, it's a darker part of Fino. This bad boy comes in at 55.6% ABV. I can't remember what year this is. This might be a newer... Oh, I'm sorry. This is a 2015 bottling of the Amontillado. As always with Kavalan, natural color, beautiful clear glass bottle, unchill filtered. Mm-hmm. Does everything that we want them to do. Dustin, let's get into this beautiful natural color whiskey.
And it's extremely dark. So, Mike?
Yeah, and I believe this is about 5 years old. Yeah. Just for everyone.
Solist, and that means first fill. And mind you, we're going to post all the information, so somebody's going to call us out immediately when we're wrong about the age. So
I looked at it once. I'm almost positive it's 5 years old, or just under 6. Trying to find the code, but I will put all of it here.
Yeah, we'll get it out there. Well, that's the actual date, but the code. Oh, that's the code.
Oh, I'm sorry. Right.
S10. So it's 2010. So yeah, it's about 5 years old.
Yeah, I'm 5 years old. Yeah, I think it was 5 years 6 months, or 5 years 7 months, something along those lines. Again, I will put all of those details.
Yeah, I made a mistake on the bourbon one, and somebody caught it instantly. Like, that's like a 7.5-year-old one. I was like, you're right. I caught it when I did the description.
I tell you what, I've always said, one of the beautiful things about the internet and YouTube in general, that, if you make a mistake, someone's going to kindly help you out and tell you what the right answer is.
Our channel, they're usually pretty kind. Other channels, not so much.
No, it's all constructive criticism to some degree. It's all progress until the end.
Yes.
All right.
Those death threats, just ignore them. They're just telling you to be better.
Let's get into it, Dustin.
Like, the first thing you told me about this whiskey when we first sat down to drink it, you brought up how much oak was on it. Yep. And I agreed with you. And today, you ain't lying, man. This is incredibly oaky for being one of the younger of the Solist series we've had.
As I've learned with this distillery, don't have any expectations based on age. Mm-hmm. I thought to myself, okay, 5 years, should be on the lighter end as far as oak, compared to a 10-year-old I've had, or an 11-year-old, or a 13-year-old virgin oak, or whatever. Not the case. This is an oak loaf. Yeah. Absolutely in this thing.
And this one, it plays that balance where I was talking about, I've said this in other reviews, when you nose the whiskey, light nosing, you get all that sweet, sherried, element. Deep nosing, you get the yeasty, malty, oaky, beastly, malt and oak.
Dense Kavalan.
Yeah, it's Kavalan that I remember from the bourbon cask, but man, you just keep going in there and it's just bigger and darker. Like, whoa.
No, it's definitely not as dark as, say, the PX. I think it's darker than the Manzanilla, but not quite as dark as the Moscatel.
Well, not up front, no. On the sherry, for sure it's not. But when you really dig in, I think the back end note is the darkest we've had. Now, these are all, again, single casks, so our bottle, your bottle may have some variance for sure. Yeah,
but I tell you what, it does get awful sweet awful fast. It's still oaky, but there is a very candied sweetness to this.
Oh, it's balanced. Very balanced.
light berry note, blueberries.
I was just going to say it's like blueberry. So it's like a dried out blueberry pie. It's not a really moist one. It's a little dry.
Yeah, you're right. The whole experience is that wine dryness, in the background too. The whole thing.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah, I would say vanilla, berries, maybe even vanilla candle.
Oh, this is almost like berries and cream, man. I'm almost getting like you put whipped cream on blueberries.
Again, there's a sugary overcoat to everything. The sugar sweetness and the oak is definitely the two pillars of this whiskey.
Yeah, but there's like a overcooked pie crust here.
Yeah, there's a lot dancing in between, though.
There's like, honestly, I mean, there's kind of like if you went into like a bookstore.
A little bit of leather.
Leather and oak, just that like really old oak.
And shockingly, for a 5-year-old whiskey, there's a little bit of smoke from the wood itself.
Yeah.
I mean, the oak note's heavy in here, but there's the oak note, and then there's a little bit of a wisp of smoke.
There's a bit of a nuttiness here too, Mike. I don't know if it's an almond. It's definitely not like a peanut, but it's like an almond or maybe a not a cashew, a chestnut. Fresh cracked chestnut. Yeah, cracked chestnuts.
Vanilla cake with white icing. White vanilla cake with white icing. Angel food.
With whipped cream on it.
Yep, airy. Light, airy.
Yeah, and there's a little bit of butter too. There's just a little hint of salt, a little hint of butter, kind of that brings it all together. So I need to now focus on the wine a little bit. I've been ignoring it.
I was gonna say now right at the end, kind of a little bit. It's a light sherry that kind of meets a dry white wine, dissolving the cherry.
Definitely get where you're going with cherry. You could almost say.
Champagne with cherry, maybe, is a better way to say that.
Yeah, I mean, almost as if a cherry and a tangerine had a baby.
Yeah, you're right. There's a bit of a citrus note.
I
wouldn't go quite tangerine. Okay, with tangerine, I was going to say blood orange, but tangerine, blood orange, we're talking.
Pretty, yeah. Well, but again, it's like, but it's like it had a baby. Some of the more intense parts of the tangerine faded. It was a black cherry. It really was.
Now just a tad bit of chocolate coming in just on the nose.
Yeah, there's definitely it's a very light kind of bakery chocolate. You ever have those sugar cookies where they put basically a Hershey's Kiss in the middle, and that's really the only chocolate? It's kind of that, where it's more cookie and pastry than it is chocolate, but there's a little bit.
The chocolate's almost dried out. You know what I mean? It's almost like it's been sitting there for a week.
Yeah.
Now the sherry note's kind of coming back in, more the cask influence. There's a juicy cask sherry influence to this.
The sherry is definitely integrated. It's not the showcase. It's not up front and in charge. It's very much integrated with the oak and the Kavalan malt. And they're all getting to kind of do their own thing, but they're doing it together.
You know what's weird about the sherry note is that citrus note, whatever it is, as light as it is, or as tangerine as it is, it is intermingled with that oak wood note.
Yeah, like I said, everything's integrated here. You know how we kind of talk about peated whiskey. A lot of people say it's more peated when it's younger, and we kind of tend to bring back no, it's just as peated, but it integrates.
Right.
It becomes part of everything.
Right.
Here, everything is integrated more so than really any other of these soulless line we've had. All the other ones I thought were more wine forward, or even in the bourbon one. I think that first fill bourbon vanilla note was very up front and center. This is
a different one.
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and take a little taste.
Yeah, now I guess it's just that oak note's getting more candied vanilla. And maybe at the end, those berries come back. Blueberries and cream, peaches and cream.
Ooh, it's hot. Ooh. So, Mike, as soon as I say that integration, when you taste it, the sherry comes right up front and center, and it really shows what it's doing. And it is very light bakery chocolates. It's got some very nice sweetness. It's definitely not your raisins and plums like Oloroso. It's much more, again, just a dessert kind of berry note. It's just that little bit of grape dessert. And then beautiful oak. Again, that kind of overcooked pie crust comes in. A little bit of smoky element on the wood. Very chocolatey. Just well done, well balanced whiskey throughout the whole experience.
You're all right. It stings. Sweet sherry on the tongue initially. Mid palate, sachets, and the milk chocolate.
I was expecting close to 60 on this, only 55.6.
Then at the end, you do get that a little bit of that citrus, almost that vanilla citrus you get off the all bourbon cask ones. Now I can kind of, now that we've had a few of those, I can kind of pick that up, and then just kind of swings back. Vanilla, candied vanilla, and then berries again. Blueberries with that soft vanilla. So it's almost like it's vanilla yogurt, vanilla flavored yogurt with blueberries, which I've had plenty of times, and blueberries are going slightly bad, which makes them kind of tart. Tell me if you don't taste all of that. And then almost like you threw a little bit of granola in there. It's almost like a yogurt parfait with vanilla yogurt, blueberries that went slightly too bad, maybe a couple of strawberries sliced in there, and a little bit of like a honey bunches of oats on top of it.
It's almost vanilla frosting and blueberries, Mike. It's almost that sweet. There's a toasted chocolate, maybe like there's shaved chocolate over it.
Okay, I can see. Remember I said dry chocolate?
Yeah.
Chocolate's been there for a week. Yeah, shaved chocolate. That's probably a better way of saying
And
that.
you know the finishing is like chocolatey oaky. I'm with you on all those notes. And I mean, I've had water here, and it's really the same whiskey. In fact, it's exactly the same whiskey. It's just beautiful. It just kind of brought that heat down a little bit. It drinks a little hot for 55.6, which isn't a problem, but I was a little surprised it was that hot.
Yeah, because usually when whiskeys are hot like that, I get a lot of spice when it's this oaky of a whiskey, but I don't get any spice at all on this.
No, this is dessert all day. This is dessert
With oak though, with a side of oak.
I think
And
oak's a
everything that
beautiful
comes in
note
with
in
it.
desserts. Honestly, I mean, it's almost like
It's a nice note, but it's
like fried ice cream kind of a thing, like oak.
Sure.
That's a similar note to oak.
Sure, but it's very big. The oak note is very big in here. So it is just as much of an experience as a dessert. Maybe it's 60-40 in its favor. But you're right, there's almost some type of fried ice cream sort of smell to it. You know what I mean? Because you kind of get... Remember,
I'm getting it on the finish, man. It's like chocolate and fried ice cream, like the crust.
Yeah, remember I said earlier it was like the yogurt and the honey bunches of oats?
Yeah.
The fried ice cream.
Oh, honey bunches of oats, yeah.
Yeah.
I missed that. Like I heard you say it, but I couldn't think about it. You're right. I can get that. Yeah, no, but I will say, I mean, again, the taste is much more wine forward than the nose.
Initially.
Yes.
But then as soon as you swallow, it's a different thing.
No, as soon as you swallow, you're back into that whole just crazy oaks and chocolates and that really sweet. I mean, we've judged it. Kavalan's malt is a beautiful, very sweet, very in-your-face malt. It is not a light distillate. It's not a Klein Leash or a Springbank where it's like got 6 things going on. It's just a really intense, strong, sweet, beautiful malt.
Man.
Perfect for these sherry casks.
Yeah, what a treat.
Man, it goes with it.
Yeah, what a treat.
What are these?
This is
400?
No, not even that.
Oh, just under?
Yeah, no, I think well under 300. 300 plus. I mean, I got this thing for 3. No, actually, no. This is the cheapest one.
This is definitely. So I think it was like 330 plus 25 shipping or something.
I'm not
35?
sure. I think the PX was 4. I think the Amontillado or the Moscatel was 350. I think this was right at 3 or 280 or something like that. I think 350. I was all in with
Yeah,
shit.
these you got to look online and also look around for stores that are getting rid of these because people aren't buying it because it's not single malt Scotch. It's single malt Taiwanese. And
whiskey.
apparently, people aren't aware that Taiwan apparently is the world's greatest place to make whiskey.
Yeah.
I don't know what else to say.
They must have found the Garden Eden there somewhere. At least for making whiskey, that's for sure.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, this is a distillery I would love to go to and just be like, guys, how the heck did you become arguably the best distillery in the world right
For sherry
now?
whiskeys, for unpeated
For
whiskeys.
sherry whiskeys, period. I don't think that there's even who's competing with them even at this point.
Well, I mean, again, if you have peated whiskey, that's something different. But
Yeah. I mean, mind you, we will be bringing you guys a peat finished cask of Kavalan.
yeah, here real soon. We love them. We have all kinds.
Now, we're not done with Kavalans by any stretch.
Not sure it's imagination. All right, buddy. So it's time for a whiskey score time. I'm gonna write
This is
down.
a tough one.
I'm gonna write down my score first, and then you can feel free at this point to comment.
So, Mike, This is like the 8th time today. I'm between two numbers, but I feel pretty confident. 90 is the right score here. There's part of me that wants to go 91, but there's just not enough extra to quite get me there. I do think some of the other Kavalans I like a little better. They have a little more complexity, or they just have a more of a wow factor on that upfront sherry. I would probably, I could go back and forth. I think there are some Glendronachs we've had that were, single cask, so, that'd have been a little better. 90, I'm here, is I think a good score. I could have gone 91, but I think 90 is where I'm comfortable. What'd you do?
As you know, I bought it.
Yep.
And I love this distillery. And I like this whiskey.
Yep.
But I know what this whiskey can do when it's hitting on all cylinders. That's why I gave it 89. 89. So, I was almost right there. So, here's the thing. I like everything this whiskey does, but it's a bit disjointed. It's a bit too heavy on the oak.
Okay.
And it has been from the first pour. A bit too heavy on the oak. I like the sweetness, but it's 60-40 oak to me, and it should be the other way around.
Okay.
So it's a bit disjointed where I can't call it, man, just a solid. I know every time I love this whiskey, I have to be in the mood for this whiskey as compared to my Moscatel.
The Moscatel, I think I gave that a 91 or 92.
That was the best of the four.
That's my favorite. I would definitely put that, I like this one over the Manzanilla.
I agree. I like it less than the PX. I rank it third out of the four.
This is the PX. Sorry, I would go back and forth on it. I almost have to do them side by side.
PX would be my second favorite. Moscatel would be my first. This would be my third. Manzanilla would be my fourth. And I think as far as price, actually that's not right at all. So I'm not going to finish that statement.
Well, the PX actually retail. Keep in mind, we're looking at now kind of what stores are selling to get rid of bottles.
Yeah. PX is the most expensive. That would be my second favorite.
All the others should have had the same MSRP, but we are seeing that stores are pricing them differently based on demand.
Right. I mean, if you see something that says PX, I understand why, as an American retailer, you would figure that would be the more expensive one.
Yeah, I mean, maybe it cost them. These are, it's probably cheaper to get an Amontillado-Cask from a bodega.
Probably.
Because everybody's after PX and Oloroso.
Yeah.
And they don't even really do like a special Oloroso one.
Well, yeah. I mean, understand what this is. A lot of times, I think people go to that out of necessity. They go to a different type of cask. As a matter of fact, I know distilleries go to out of necessity.
Absolutely.
Now, they made this one of their core four. I say four because four of them come in
fancy box. I mean, there's a Fino that's in a slightly less fancy box.
And so let's say there's five.
And then they've got like the leather wrap tube for the regular Oloroso.
And they have a Vino Brique.
And then some of the ports come in that one and some don't, which we'll get into.
Point is, this one is a regular release. This is something that they have been releasing on, like with the PX, like with the Moscatel, like with the Manzanilla. They've been releasing this Amontillado on a regular basis. So this isn't because of a cask shortage. This is because they think this cask is worthy to be a regular release.
Or maybe this was they wanted a contract with a bodega. Hey, at this point, you send us those casks.
Sure.
We need this many a year.
Sure. I have a hard time believing they would put it with that box and all this same ribbon and the pomp if it wasn't something that they found value in, that they were trying to
my point is to get the level of quality of
sherry. For sure. Yeah.
They may have needed to branch out beyond Oloroso. So they said, all right, okay. They probably called the bodega and they said, dude, that quality you're asking for, we get it. I can't get you one of those in PX, or I can't get you one of those in Oloroso. And he goes, how about Manzanilla? He goes, oh yeah, how about Amontillado? Oh, we can. Moscatel, and they're like, "Oh, yeah, we have some of those available."
Yeah,
because we're not getting calls from all the Scotch distilleries to get that.
For sure, I mean, there's no doubt about it. But they had to obviously test it, make sure that it was something they found was quality. I mean, I think they look at this in the same way we do, as a stark contrast from the PX, from the Manzanilla, from the Moscatel, but a worthy.
Well, keep in mind the word I keep using here is they're going to Spanish bodegas. They're not going to some place that's like, yeah, we can throw in some, 2-year-old sherry into a cask for 6 years for you, and we'll ship it over. They're going to somebody and saying, hey, I want casks that are being used for sherry, or I want you to finish your sherry in an oak cask for us, and it's got to be your 20-year-old or something. Like these, I don't believe they're using casks that are just being seasoned. These are casks that are used for quality sherry. Which a lot of quality sherry is not consumed anymore. It's become much less popular, so it's harder for them to get true sherry casks. It's really rare.
Yeah. I don't see people really ordering that much more. I mean, that was from a different generation. So, I mean, yeah, you would have those problems.
Unless you're still watching episodes of Frasier. You probably have not heard of anybody drinking sherry in a long time.
I love that show.
I do too.
Anyway, those are our thoughts on it. I think another worthy teammate on an excellent lineup from this distillery. So this is the fourth of the four that we brought to you, but we'll continue to look for these bottles, and we'll bring you different vintages of them, things of that nature. This one happens to be the 2015.
Yep.
We'll put all the details in the information below. Dustin and I are both roughly at the same score, 89-90. Another great Kavalan. I don't think anything I've ever had from this distillery has been bad. And I like seeing it in every possible light.
Absolutely.
Every possible light. Anyway, those are our thoughts on the whiskey. If you guys had a chance to try this one, let us know what you guys think. Dustin, until next time, what do we wish the folks?
Happy drinking.
We'll see you then.